Welcome to Bright, Victoria in the High Country, and I'm at the beautifully newly refurbished Elm Dining, which was formerly known as Simone's of Bright, a fantastic historic space. Many of you may have dined here in this 1800s cottage that was once a doctor's office, but now a rather formal Japanese, modern Australian influenced dining space, thanks to the Traverse Alpine Group, a new hip and happening young group of people with an operator owner based in Albury. So really a local taking on not only this space but also some other fantastic cherry picked assets in the high country like Astrolodge and Husky Kitchen up at Falls Creek. Now this space, and I'm going to turn around and give you a little bit of a look at this room. So here we have a fantastic double entertainment hospitality offering with Elm Dining indoors, kind of formal, really detailed, beautiful Japanese / Australian dining, so modern Australian with a Japanese influence. And then outside we have the yard, which is really relaxed South American barbecue style. Think cocktails, local wines, and just relaxing by the fire or in the garden. So such a beautiful place. So, Cowrie, thanks for joining me on Essentials TV, and congratulations on the relaunch of Elm Dining.
Yep.
Now, tell me a little bit about your background, because it's quite complicated. You're a Queensland born.
Yep, Queensland born, that's correct.
You did some work in Noosa, is that right?
Yeah, so I spent the younger years of my career when I first started in Noosa.
Hastings Street, bit of action,
bit of
fun.
Hastings Street. Back in the day at Barrados, I did my apprenticeship back at the renowned Barrados back in those days on Hastings Street. Spent a fair few years in Noosa and then moved on from there.
Okay. So the interesting thing about your menu is we have land-based, we have seafood, we have Murray cod, lots of Australian natives on the menu, and I have to say, a lot of Japanese influence. So tell me about your history with Japanese food.
So I went traveling through Asia for 7.5 months. I went to numerous different countries, mainly Southeast Asia, and in that time I did go to Japan. But before I went there, I was actually working at a restaurant in Noosa called Wasabi Restaurant and Bar under Seb Gilbert. So yeah, I was trained in Japanese cooking before I went to Japan, and that really just set in my true love and passion for their produce and the way their culture and in the way they preserve everything and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that really cemented it. And I was living in Kyoto, working there in traditional Japanese restaurants where I was the only foreigner in the kitchen, spoke no Japanese. It was really
That would have been a challenge.
Yeah, so the challenge at the start it was very difficult. I couldn't understand what they were asking me to do, and kind of got put in the back to pick green vegetables for the first month or two until they realised that I could actually do other stuff as well. So
But you obviously picked up on some of the staples. There's use of dashi, there's use of I don't know if you're using yuzu on the menu, because there's local yuzu in Northeast Victoria.
Yeah, that is correct. There is local farms in here, but at this stage of the time, it's not quite in season just yet.
So, Elm Dining, is it refined dining in here? What's the style?
Yeah, so I would say it's more refined dining. We want to create a special experience for our guests that decide to dine here.
And I really love the yard. The yard is such a great space. And for those that remember Simone's restaurant back in the day, that was kind of not really utilised to its fullest extent. And there's a really great development of that space. But it's not formal out there. We've got margaritas and cocktails and local wines. And what sort of food?
So it's South American influence. So we try to stick to that same. It's not traditional or anything like that, but it just has the kind of finesse and the ingredients that they would use in South America. We have a custom-made rotisserie from Brazil that we've purchased for out there. So all of our meats and all of our vegetables and all of our everything is all fire.
Okay. So what are we roasting tonight, or what's on the barbecue tonight?
So on the barbecue tonight, we've got our chicken that we get from our local butcher, and we've got some vegetables and a few other different bits and pieces for our functions.
Okay, so I'm hanging out for some corn,
Yeah.
barbecue corn, and maybe a fish wing,
Yeah.
something
yeah.
like that, just to nibble on. But I better get out there and join the party.
Yes.
So have a great night.
Yeah,
Thanks
you
for
too.
talking to me.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Awesome. Thanks.
Well, it looks like they're having a great time here at the launch of Elm Dining and the Yard. Time for me to go and have a Bollinger champagne, or maybe a Mayford Shiraz, a lovely local Shiraz. Anyway, thanks for joining me on Essentials TV. I hope to see you real soon.